Hello, class. We are in your medical terminology, chapter 2, the body. And as I have said many times, by the end of this semester, we're going to go through this whole medical terminology book. So if you find yourself in need of something to do and you're just sitting around and you have nothing to do, or you're sitting by the pool relaxing, which I don't know if pools are open right now, but let's just paint this picture, and you want something to do, then just start reading your medical terminology book and start doing the exercises, because by the end of the semester, we will be going through the whole book. And I am on the honor system that you are doing the medical terminology book. There is no way for me to check unless I have you bring them in and have me physically look at them, which I am not doing that. So I am under the assumption that you are actually reading and doing the exercises in this book. So right now we're going to go and talk about the body. So this chapter teaches terms that describe the organization of the body cavities, the organs therein, and the division of the back and the planes of the body. Now, I understand that a lot of this stuff that you're doing with Mrs. Sims in neuro and dynamics, and that she has you not learning the information, but she has you applying the information. So it might seem like we're going a little bit backwards, but what we're doing here in medical terminology is we're again getting you the foundation so that we know that you know this information, because many of you come from different backgrounds and have various information and knowledge stored up in your brain, but we are just making sure that everybody is on the same page. um so we are going to work on chapter 2, the body. I'm not going to do a lot of talking throughout this PowerPoint, but I'm going to let you go through the PowerPoint and go through your book as well. But we're talking about cells, tissues, organs, and systems. And so what are some examples of types of cells found in the body? There are epithelial cells, nerve cells, bone cells, muscle cells. There are many cells that are found in the body. And then tissues. Tissues are similar cells, but they're grouped together. So what are some examples of types of tissues? Well, again, they're epithelial tissues. They're located all over the body, and they form linings of internal organs and the outer surfaces of the skin covering the body. Um, Organ structures composed of several kinds of tissues. So what are some examples of organs? You have organs that are located in the abdomen. There are liver, stomach, intestines, pancreas, spleen, gallbladder. The digestive system includes organs such as the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, and the intestines. And then we're going to go down to the systems. So there are groups of organs working together to perform complex functions. So there's the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, digestive system, endocrine system, female and male reproductive system, musculoskeletal system, nervous system, respiratory system, skin and sense organ system, and the urinary system. But all of these cells, tissues, organs, and systems work together. So as you begin to understand this, you can see how everything works together. So what is the circulatory system? This is the heart, blood, and blood vessels. And this transports blood throughout the body. So what about the digestive system? This brings food into the body, it breaks it down so that it can enter the bloodstream. Food that cannot be broken down is then removed from the body at the end of the system, uh, as we know as waste. The endocrine system is composed of glands. and it sends chemical messengers called hormones into the blood to act on other glands and organs. If you want to, I am actually looking at page 48, the body systems, and you can kind of look around, look on, and go through the slides and try to get a picture of what you're trying to understand. Try to, like right now, we're trying to understand the systems and what the systems do and what the systems in the body are responsible for. So go ahead, instead of me sitting here just reading it, go ahead and look at page 48 and the female and male reproductive system. And of course, your musculoskeletal system, which allows the body to move, and a very important system. As you're going through these slides and as you're looking at your book, think of why these different systems are important and what they do, and also think of what happens if a person has a disability, injury, or illness and these systems break down. By you understanding what these systems actually do, then you can understand that if the system breaks down, what all it is responsible for, and what the patient therefore will not be able to do because this system has broken down. So this is a horrible picture, but this picture is on page 50 of your book, and you can look at that and you can see on page 50 in your book where it has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they correspond to the body cavities. And on page 51 and 52, you can see that number 1 is the cranial cavity, and you can fill that in. And number 2 is the thoracic cavity. And then there's the abdominal cavity and the pelvic cavity and the spinal cavity, and you can kind of fill them in so you can see where they're located. And then on the next slide we talk about the cavities just a little bit. So if you're looking at this slide and you're also looking at page 51, it expands the on the cavity, so the cranial cavity, where it's located. And the cranial cavity contains the brain and other organs such as a pituitary gland. So it gives you some information so you can start putting together a picture. You can picture where it is on the body and then what it contains and what it's responsible for. And this is just this is also in your book, and this is just kind of a close-up picture of the thoracic cavity, and you can see what is involved in the thoracic cavity. So again, what it's responsible for, what happens in the breakdown. I kind of like this picture here. Um, and it's also in your book, and in the book it's numbered, but the number is left blank, and you can see on here I have filled in those blanks. You should start getting used to looking at the spinal column and being able to break it down, because maybe it's happening now in your neuro or dynamics class, but as we get further along into the OTA program, you'll understand that the different parts of the spinal column are responsible for different actions. And when a person has, a sever at a certain area, then that specifically means that they have certain disabilities and certain abilities. So you really need to get this breakdown of what the 5 different areas are in the spinal column. So I know that you are talking about planes with Mrs. Sims in her class, but this is a picture, and this is also in your book, and it is dividing the body into different areas. So a plane running across the body parallel to the ground or transverse, and a vertical plane is dividing the body into interior and posterior portions, frontal, and lengthwise vertical plane dividing the body into right and left sides, which is sagittal. And that is important to know the areas of the body. The next few slides are planes of the body. I'm on page 56, and you can follow along in your book, and it's just giving you definition again, just another way for you to learn the information. This is also in your book starting on page 59, and it is just combining forms and understanding what words are medical terminology from the forms. So after you go through your book in your chapter 2, and then after you review this PowerPoint in conjunction with your book, then you can go ahead to your individual assignment and you can take the quiz on medical terminology, chapter 2.